Let's see.
All right, welcome everybody to our next episode of Secrets of Trading. So today we have Gurjot with us. Welcome, Gurjot.
Hi,
Come
everybody.
on, buddy.
You guys can finally see me back in the public.
I'm in.
Yeah, last time we saw you was with a trading with Paul on YouTube. So it's good to see you back on here.
That was so
Yeah.
long ago too. That was like, was that last year?
Pre-COVID.
Like,
No, that was like pre-COVID.
That was pre-COVID. Wow.
Yeah.
And with COVID, it's crazy because like everything that happened, like it feels like 2 years ago was actually 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's weird. COVID
It's
messed
like
my
it
timeline
skipped
up.
a year. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. That whole year is like a wash.
It messed my timeline up, especially here. It's because in Canada it's worse than like up there. Like we're still kind of locked down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're still in like those beginning stages of where we were.
Yeah, it's brutal here.
That's another conversation.
So pretty much, who is Gurjot, and then how did you get started? The very basic question that we're gonna ask everybody.
Well, I'll say my name is Gurjot. I won't give out my last name, but my name is Gurjot. Like, everybody knows me as Gurjot. My Instagram is GurjotFX and stuff like that. I'm a 21-year-old kid from Canada. Toronto. I'll say Toronto, Canada, because everybody knows where Toronto is. Forex first got introduced to it through cousins and like family friends and stuff like that. I'll say when I was like 17 years old in high school. And it was the same thing. What everybody thinks, oh, this is scam. What are you talking about? This is full fake and everything like that. They didn't do anything with it. Just took a look at it here and there and stuff like that until I was done high school. Like 18, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a look into it, into this industry. I got very lucky with the aspect of I got introduced to, you guys know Raja, Uncle Ted, and everything like that.
Yeah.
To those guys very early on, so I didn't get caught up in any scams or anything like that. I didn't like there's like a bunch of mentor scams or like Discord, like not Discord, but like what's
Instagram.
I'll trade, Instagram. I'll trade for you scams, like those type of scams that copy. So I got lucky with that. I never really got caught up with scams. I got introduced to Raja and Uncle Ted, Ted at the very early stage. I didn't have the funds back in the day to buy the course or anything like that. So it was mainly learning off of YouTube and Google with those guys, because they would do live streams 24/7, and if you paid enough attention and showed up enough, you could learn the content. And from their live streams, you just have to pay enough attention and show up enough. And then I began trading. I'll say when I started, when I was 18 years old, because that's like the legal age of it and everything here. And then it was just like a small account, $100 account with penny lots and everything like that. Just trading that and trying to trade that with their strategies and understanding price action and everything like that. And made some mistakes like everybody. Blew my accounts. I've blown a ton of accounts. Like there were I'll throw $100 in and blow that. And I'm like, okay, I'll put $200 in and then blow that. Like it happened in the early stage.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't consistent or anything. I'll say until maybe 3 years. So it's like last year I started getting somewhat consistent profits. And then last year it was that's also when I also got introduced to the I traded the firm, the FTMO firm. That's and I have that connected to my private trading account with Blackpool. So I mainly trade with them, and then my private one is just on the side if ever anything happens. So I started trading with them last year. Did the challenges, passed them. Everything. The challenges were never issued for me. I prefer the challenge method and everything like that. So I did the challenges, passed them, and then I think I got one payout, and it was like $600 the first payout with them. And everything went to downfall again, and that's because I lost my account with them, and then all my hard work was like broke me down. Like I worked 3 years, finally got consistent, and then lost my account with them, so I was like broken for a while. It broken in the aspect of like my confidence was down. And then I think it took like maybe a month off or like a couple of days off, and then kind of reset my strategy and everything, like, and reset my strategy and the way I trade, because it wasn't working for me anymore. I wasn't consistent enough. I would make profits, but it wasn't like week by week profits or month by month profits. And I'll say this year was like the very like, okay, this can be my future 100%. Like I can live off this. I can create other ventures off of this. Is kind of been my breakout year, because I've found my sort of strategy, which which is bits and parts from everybody, bits and parts from Sharma's group, bits and parts from Raja, bits and parts from Paul, bits and parts from Uncle Ted, like all the best traders that I know. And I kind of took bits and parts from everybody and created into my own strategy in a way. It's not strategy, but like my own style of trading. And I've been more consistent this year than any other year. And I had my biggest payouts this year. And my biggest, I would say my biggest payout from the firm was, I think, $8,000. So that's my biggest
Oh,
payout.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sharma, do you have a question? I
Yeah,
can tell.
so the very first thing that I want to actually tap on, and it's the last thing that you said, which is you've kind of found your own strategy after going through like, this entire time. So you're 20, you started when you were 18, so 2 years pretty
Yeah,
much,
21.
right?
I'm 21 now. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm 21.
All right.
Yeah,
So
so I started when I was 18.
You can drink.
yeah.
Well, here you can drink when you're 19. You can drink at
Oh,
an early
wow.
age.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
no. Here you can drink when you're 19. I don't
Yes,
drink
sir.
or smoke. I'm a clean guy. I don't do any of that. Just not for me.
There
But
you go.
yes, you can drink.
There you
So
go.
for 3 years, you pretty much were looking at a lot of different traders, and then you're trying to figure out like, okay, how are they trading? And then eventually, you got to a point where you were profitable, and then you kind of like lost it. And then what kind of helped you realize that what they're doing is great and everything, but I need to find something that works for me. And then what kind of helped you get there so then you could build up your own strategy?
I would say it was after I lost my account with the firm and everything like that, and they basically lost my income source for that month and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I took time off. I'd say I took time off of trading. I may have came back for like a week or 2 weeks, but after that, I took a time off trading because it was December. It was near the time where it's like everybody's like not even trading anymore because it's not the best days. Like everybody's busy, so I took some time off trading, and I realized that over those 3 years, yes, I made profits, but I would never make consistent profits or consistent winning streaks or consistent anything in regards to trading. It was like I, I I try to compare myself almost too much to the best traders out there. I try to compare myself to you. I try to compare myself to Stefanos, his journaling. I try to compare myself to Raja. I try to compare myself to everybody too much, and I realize all of them trade differently. All of them make their own profits their own way, and it's like it can work for me, but it's not gonna work enough where it's gonna be consistent enough for me. So it was something weird. I didn't trade then the way I found my strategy, like not my strategy, the way I trade now, and I figured it out. I didn't trade for like I think a month and a half or 2 months. I just watched the charts. I would not like not lively. I would say I would because it was Asian and pre-London, so it's like if I go to bed, I'll wake up and go back, and I'll just watch the charts of like where could I have entered and where would I've taken a loss or win. But the thing with that is like you have to be brutally honest with yourself because if you say, oh yeah, I could have entered here, it's not like I could have. It's like you enter there, you didn't enter there. And for some reason, during the time I was brutally honest with myself, like I didn't play into my own mind, oh yeah, I could have entered there, which is a benefit for me because I noticed to see the same things happen over and over and over and over again, and it was just basic price action style. Like it wasn't anything complicated. Oh, it hit this level and then went up, or it wasn't very fundamentally run. It was like, oh, this news came on, then went up. It wasn't a higher, lower, high. It was just basic. Like there's a range, you broke out. I took the trade, and that's pretty much it. And I had a rule of if it was a fake out, take the fake out. That's pretty much it. So it was like I didn't backtest that much. I didn't during this time. I didn't like put more money in and try to figure it out. I just literally just let the charts play out, go back the next day, and then say, okay, if I was going to take a trade, where was I going to take it? And then I was brutally honest with myself. Okay, this would have been losing day, this would have been one day, and the same thing just kept happening on a weekly basis, like almost every single day. There's days I lost. In my head, I would have said, okay, I lost, but it was like every single day this happened, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna just put it into test, and then once it did, it was just it didn't. I'm not blow up. I was gonna say like it was very successful, like
Okay.
the style of trading.
This was after you went through all
Yeah,
that?
yeah. After my confidence was blown because I lost my account and everything like
Yeah.
that. This was like it was like a very low point in my trading side because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I put so many years into this, right? Like that's it. I can't do this. It's over. Like trading is very mental, like on the mental side, where it's like if you have a bad month or a bad week, you're like, sorry, I don't mean sorry. You're like,
Good.
you're like, oh, I can't trade. Well, like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's been 3 years. I see all these traders. They're making like, it wasn't up the money, but it was like just what the percentage gain and everything. Like they're having consistent wins and they're being profitable. It's like, why can't I do that? So it's like, I'll compare myself to these great traders, and then having a bad month or bad couple months really broke my self confidence. Because there's
Yeah.
points I wanted to quit trading. I was like, yo, this is too much. This is exhausting, right?
Yeah.
I'm up so many hours. Like, I don't want to journal. I don't want to do this. Like, it's so easy to go out and get a job, 9 to 5 job, consistent paycheck, nothing happens, and you come back.
So, like, I wanted to unpack that. I know you've been really breaking that down, but I want to unpack that little season for you, if you will. But was that an accumulation of a bunch of trades, or like, let's say, like 3 or 4 trades, and you just blew the whole account?
With the firm, you're saying when I blew the account?
When you went through that and you were really consistent, you were doing really well, and then all of a sudden, when you blew that account, was it within a couple of trades, or was it like, all right, my strategy really is not working, and it's like accumulation of 2 or 3 weeks of just like blowing your account?
It was a combination of both. So it was I had profit in there. I would say I think it got up to 12K profit in there, and then it was combination over risking. So it was like I may have taken like a couple big trades where I risked like 2 to 3%. That kind of like brought my account balance down, and then combination of where it wasn't consistent enough. Like that setup, it could have been a bad week, and with over risking and a bad week, it's just like I'm gonna blow my account because it wasn't consistent enough, and then I over risked during that week.
So
It was a combination of both.
okay, got it. The setups that you were looking for, were they the same though?
It was like price action in regards to like if it set up a higher high or higher low, and I would say if it set up what does it say? So if it's trending down and it set up a lower high, I'll take a sell there and it'll go down, and then I'll try to secure. But it wasn't consistent enough where sometimes we'll set up a lower high and then I would think the trend's going to continue now, but it wasn't. It flipped on me and it continued heading up. So it's just like it wasn't working for me. It works for other people. I've seen it work for other people. Like I've seen Roger take trades on that. I've seen Sammy is really good at this kind of sort of setup. It works for other people. It just wasn't working for me because it just didn't fit my personality. Maybe it was because I was taking too many trades. Maybe it was because I didn't take the correct setups. Like I can I'll say this. It's like I can go right now, pull up the chart, take the exact same trade up, and it can be a winning trade. Just because I've watched the market that much, it can be a winning trade. But that doesn't mean that 9 out of 10 times it's gonna be a winning trade.
Yeah.
It's just the consistency was the issue.
That makes sense. So when it happened, when you did blow that account, what was your thought process immediately? And then also like what made you step away from trading instead of like digging into previous trades and like trying to really figure out a strategy from there after taking like a day or two off? Where like the only reason I'm asking this is because I see this pattern with a lot of traders. And I think it's a good idea to step away from the charts after blowing an account or going through something I guess traumatic like that. But I feel like a lot of them, if they just took a day or two off, got themselves good, kind of leveled themselves off, like their mind and everything, and then they just got right back into back testing, right back. Because like every time I would have a losing week or a losing like 2 weeks, something like that, I would go into the weekend and just like dig into back testing, dig into journaling my trades, stuff like that. And then the next week I would come back a much better trader. I feel much more confident. So like I'm trying to stop traders who are watching this from going through that and taking such a long period of time off instead of just like kind of cutting it down to like 3 or 4 days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was you. No, so you're saying you want them to take a long period of time off, or you don't?
No. What I'm trying to figure out from you is like your thought process when you did go through that. Like, what caused you to take that long of a time off?
It was because I think failure. Because like previous times, remember I said when I had my own personal accounts, it was like $100 or $200 where I would just kind of trade. I those times when I blew my accounts, I would refill my account and then go back into it right away. So I've done it so many times over the I was that during the time 3 years, where it's like I refill my account and like I'll try to trade again and I blow it again, and I was like that doesn't work. Like I failed too many times at that. I'm not gonna. Is like I just like there's I don't know if there's a quote or saying is like it's just you're dumb if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over again. You're not gonna get a different result. And I made the mistake over and over and over again, refilling my account, going back into it for so many times. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Like that doesn't work. I'm gonna just step away because I need to step away. I was too emotional and everything like that. So I was like, I'm not gonna make the same dumb mistake, because then like that's me failing. That I would consider that, okay, I'm a failure at that point because I just made the same mistake over and over again. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something different. I just took some time off. I was exhausted. Another part is I was just exhausted.
Yeah,
I was exhausted
mentally
from
you just
losing.
drained.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done with it. I just need like to step away. It's like I don't want to be doing this, feeling 24/7, right? So it's like it was just I made the mistake of doing what most people do and refill my account and then go into it back right away. And then it was just this time I was like, I need more time just to
Yeah.
step away to look at it in a different view,
Okay.
because I don't have the mind like I know some people, it's like they can, if they have a problem in front of them and they look at it one way, they can change their view during the time. Like, you know, engineers, this is a good, like a good analogy. Engineers are programmed to look at a problem in multiple different ways right off the bat, whereas like most the Joe on the street is like they're gonna look at a problem the way that they see it until they step away and then they come back to it. So it was something. It was just like
So
that.
what gave you the confidence to, well, like you said, how, you know, you consistently used to kind of blow the accounts, come back. So you've gone through that entire journey of like just coming back to back to back, right? Coming back to the charts. So once you finally made that decision, like, all right, this time it's going to be different. This time I'm going to step away from the charts. What kind of gave you that confidence, or what was your why to come back and be like, I'm going to give this another go?
When I stepped away, it wasn't like I'm giving up. It was just like I need a break. Maybe I can
Get
come
some
back to this.
space.
Yeah, maybe I can come back to this like in a month or 2 months. I don't know how long the break was going to be. It was just like I'm going to come back to this, just not now.
Mhm.
Just because like I have to, right? It's like I have everybody has their own personal issues. I have a bunch of family issues that like I have to deal with, right? I'm a 20. Yes, I'm a 20-year-old kid. I'm not like, I'm not saying I'm 40 years old, but it's like I feel like a 40-year-old in a 21-year-old body. Like I'm not trying to like try to brag or anything. It's not to brag, but it's just like everybody has their baggage, and I have to figure this out, because if I don't figure
Yeah.
this out, not that I'm screwed, but like I have people that are screwed, right? So it's
That's a
like,
perfect mindset.
yeah, it's like
Just knowing like you got to fix it. It's on you.
yeah, that's my mindset for everything. It's like
Good.
there's issues I've taken upon myself to try to deal with and fix that shouldn't be my responsibility at all. But it's like what am I going to do, right? It's like if I don't fix them, I know that other individual or the other family member is not going to be able to fix them or deal with them alone. So it's like I have to, no matter what, make it. So we'll say trading, make it in trading, so that like I can have other ventures and stuff like that. And nobody has to worry like around me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think what's it called? I wanted to go back to what you said, like that's dumb. Like, you know, doing the same thing over and over. I wouldn't say dumb, but like I think it's the definition of insanity, they say, is doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over again, thinking that you're gonna get the same result. One thing I did want to go back to though is I see this with a lot of athletes. Like when athletes get hurt, they take a step away from the game and they come back 10 times better because they see the game in a lens of somebody else. Or let's say you're a quarterback, you're watching the backup quarterback running the same exact offense. And it's like, okay, I could have done that. I could have checked down instead of, you know, throwing a deep ball trying to get a touchdown. You come back a much better trader. I've heard this from a ton of different quarterbacks specifically of like stepping away, getting hurt, coming back away from the game, and then coming back into the game. You come out much more confident and stuff like that. But Ted and Markeel, I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was, but I don't know, it'll come back to me. But I just think that was a big thing for you, is just stepping away from the game
Yeah.
and then coming back, and you probably feel much more confident now. You
Yeah.
came back a better trader.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about that is, one thing for me, what I had to do is I have an Instagram and everything like that, but I stopped looking at everybody else's trades. Like I stopped looking at everybody else's profits and stuff like that. It's like
Cool.
you'll see me. I'm not that active. Like I won't really hop on. Like Rico doesn't know me personally, but like I won't go on to his live streams. I won't go on to Ted's Instagram. I won't go on to Sharma's Instagram that much. I won't go on to your Instagram, just because like sometimes you have to compare yourself to people, but you also understand like everybody's on their own path, right? It's like everybody started trading at a different time. Everybody, some people progress really fast, some people progress really slow. I had to stop comparing myself to everybody, because I was like, I want to be there, I want to be there, I want to be there. But it's like, hey, it's not my time, it's not ready. I have to keep putting in the work, and then I will be there one day. So it's like, look, I think you learn from them, and I feel like I was able to take out. I think I'm still learning in the industry, because you always learn. Is like you never stop learning. But I feel like I learned as much as I needed to at the moment. I need to step away from everybody and just trade just by myself. Like I trade the best by myself. I'll say that.
That's awesome.
Whenever I trade in group calls, it's like I don't really like it because like it's not for me. Sometimes I get people get into my head and stuff like that. So I trade the best myself. I don't view other people's profits or anything like that, and just try to keep grinding like that.
I think if you have the right mindset, it's good to
Yeah.
you know, to compare yourself to people that are like 10 years older than you. I've always done that. And that's like, that could be a positive and a negative. But if you have the right mindset and you're headstrong and it doesn't get to you too much that you're not where these people are yet, that's good. Because if you're constantly comparing yourself to them, you know that you got to put your foot on the pedal and get there as soon as you can. But if you have if you have the wrong mindset, that could really hinder you as far as, and it could set you back. You could get FOMO, all that stuff from really comparing yourself to others.
Yeah. And I'll admit,
I think that's a very thin line right there when you're comparing yourself to others, because I mean, you and I used to have these conversations all the time on Instagram where like I would post something, you're like, Sharma, I'm coming there, like I'm gonna be there, right? And so it's a very thin line where you can, I guess, in a way, compare yourself to others, but you have to realize that my style of trading is going to be different from your style of trading, right? So you could have this like sort of a friendly competition where it's like, this is what this trader is doing and this is what I want to do. Like I want to be at the same level, I want to be better than that, whatever it is. But you have to make sure that you're not going into that, the negative side where you're talking about, FOMO and all this type of stuff. You can very easily fall over into that. Or you can think about, well, this is what my strategy is. I just have this friendly competition with this other person, your friends and everything like that. But that's just one way to encourage you to be better in whatever you're doing. So I guess you're walking a very, very like on a thin line pretty much.
I think in trading, it's different. Like trading, it's even harder to do that. If we're in business, we're in sales, and you got like your sales manager that's like making 100 calls a day, all that stuff. You want to compare yourself to him, 100% do it. When it comes to trading, looking at other people's profits, their trades and all that stuff, different strategies, stuff like that. Trading is very similar to business. Well, it is business, but it's also very different, and you got to treat it differently than you do something like that. So it's hard to compare yourself to people ahead of you in trading. But if you look at yourself as an entrepreneur, just not like a trader, it's good for you to compare yourself to, let's say, your cousin who's bringing in $2.5 million net a year. It's good to compare yourself. Like, what is his work ethic like? I need to get to that level. So it's different from trading.
And I completely agree with you. It's good. And the thing is, I'll admit, it wasn't good for me. I wasn't in a strong mindset. Like that's you need a strong head, right? I wasn't mentally at the best probably during the time. So it was like it wasn't good for me. It was the negative impact from me. But you're 100% right. Without competition, I feel like it's like with competition, you learn, you work better and you learn better. But it's like Sharma was saying, it's a fine line. Like if you step over to the wrong side, it's like it's horrible for you. So and it wasn't good for me. I didn't have the strongest side. I can admit that, and I wasn't mentally the strongest for that.
I bet you feel like your head is much stronger now, 10 times stronger after coming out of something like that. And now where you're at right now, you probably feel much stronger.
Like now I can go on and look, and it doesn't cause me any issues or anything. That is just I found that it's not as important to me right now because like you guys that we all have a end goal, right? The end goal, it could be like you want to create some sort of like multiple business. You want to have like 10 businesses by the age of 30, right? With multiple passive incomes and stuff like that. Everybody has an end goal, and I realized that I'm still very far from my end goal, and it's like and you guys are in the different stages. So it's like I don't have anything to give you guys, and what you guys can give me right now in regards to businesses and stuff like that, and like everything right now, it's not useful for me right now because I'm still at the very, very early stages. So it's like when I get to those stages, then I'm like, okay, now I can go and ask them a bunch of questions because I'm not here to waste anybody's time. Right? I'm not going to go to you guys and ask you guys random questions that are useless to me right now because I'm not in the stage to work on them. So it's like even right now, so I'm like, it's not as important to me right now to not compare myself or to even look at things like that just because I'm not at that stage right now. Right? I'm trying to get to that stage.
There's I think there's a lot of value in like studying somebody that's way ahead of you too, because like there's this guy on YouTube, Alex Hormozy, brings in like I think 85 million a month or something. He grows people's gyms, right? He helps them with their sales departments and grows gyms all over the US. And he does very well for himself. He's good friends with the guy who started clickbait, or not clickbait, but the funnels. What's the
Mhm.
sales funnels? What's the guy's name? Richard Bronson.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
is it Richard?
Isn't that the old guy, the Virgin Mobile guy?
No,
Or am I
Richard Bronson.
wrong?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys saw him, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Very close with like Zuckerberg, stuff like that. But
Yeah,
like
that's probably
I'll
him.
watch his videos on stuff that like I'm nowhere near yet, as far as like managing 150 employees, how to fire people the proper way, right? And like different things like that. I'll watch that video just because I'll take the notes, and I have a bunch of notes on my notes app on my phone, and I'll just be jotting these things down because at some point I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not as important right now as like, I don't know, watching somebody back test or something like that. But at the same time, like I'm on the road a lot. I'm listening to this. It's just good, like picking up different things from Sharma. Sharma's, at a whole nother stratosphere right now when it comes to business and what she's doing. She's got like fucking 20
Yeah,
20
trust me,
source of
I
income
know.
right now. So like
I look at
she's
it, I was
somebody
like,
great to
God
learn from.
damn. Yeah, I know. I was like, God damn, bro. I was like,
But
I
like
need to
what
be there.
yeah, these conversations that you have with people like that, you want to pick every little part of their brain from them, even if it doesn't apply to you, as much as possible, because you don't know when the last time you're going to be able to talk to them or
That's true.
extract any kind of information that you can from them.
That's a valid
And
point.
if I can add to that, it's also, how we were talking about trading itself being like a mental game, but also, how you compared that to somebody else who may be in business, a salesperson and all this stuff. But even in that case, if you were to apply the same exact thing to trading, you're using completely different metrics
Mm.
to measure your success or measure like anything else in your business.
Yeah.
My KPI in my business may be completely different from your KPI in your business. My setups in trading are completely different from your setups in trading. My style of trading is completely different from your style of trading. So I
Mhm.
think that's where people fail to kind of understand that have this competition, but that's also why you can't 100% compare yourself to somebody else. You're never going to be like them. And it was exactly, what Austin was talking about when you're making those calls and then it's like, okay, well, what do you consider a lead? Well, I consider everybody that I talk to a lead or versus people who are actually motivated. Those are
Mhm.
completely different metrics that you're going against. So yeah, you could look at other traders. You could look at myself. You could look at Stefanos. You could look at Gurjot. You could look at Paul. But everybody has a different setup. Those are different metrics.
Only thing I compare is work ethic. That's the
Yeah,
only thing you can compare. And
yeah,
like if
One,
somebody's working harder than me, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna outwork
yeah,
them. So
yeah.
that's the only thing you can really measure. And it's the same exact thing with the definition of success. Yours is completely different than mine. So you can't really measure what path that you're on with mine because it's different. We're different ages, we're doing different things, different businesses, stuff like that. But we can compare each other's work ethic, and that's the only thing you could really compare.
yeah.
One thing,
Yeah.
sorry, one thing that's funny with the US saying like you can't like you can compare worth ethic, and you can't really like a lot of people would say is like, okay, if she's successful or if you're or he's successful, right? Why don't you just copy him? Why don't you just copy his trading style? Why don't you just copy his business? It's like if you work like that, everybody would be successful at it, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that at
It's
all.
not
It's
that
like I
easy.
can't just like I'm in Sharma's group right now, and I can't just go in her group and copy everything that she does because her eyes are completely different from my eyes. Like her lens is completely different from my lens. I'm not gonna see what she sees. I'm not gonna secure what she secures or take away into it. She takes it into it. It just doesn't work. Like that. You can't copy someone from A to Z.
Mhm.
It's impossible. It's impossible to
100%.
do that.
100%.
I mean, you could for a certain period of time, but then it's like,
Yeah.
so what I do in my group is that we have our live sessions that we do every day, right? But then in like maybe 2 weeks or so, these live sessions are supposed to help you understand what the markets are doing. So we have like all these other things that we're doing, webinar simulation sessions and all this stuff. So that every like 2 weeks or so, I'm like, all right, it's a Discord session. We're not gonna do this on Zoom live. What that forces people to do is, well, I'm there to help you out. I'm still sending the analysis. I'm still sending the charts on Discord, live, and I'm updating you guys what's happening, whether I'm taking an entry, what are my conditions, everything that you would see on a Zoom call, but now it's on Discord. So it's a completely different like medium that you're looking at. But now that forces people to not only just simply look at my screen and just stare at their screens and my screen and then be like, okay, well, if she's gonna take an entry, then I'm gonna take an entry. That forces people to go onto their screens, take a look at what's happening there, and then understand, well, is this where I want to be taking an entry? So I kind of use these like small changes here and there to pretty much challenge everybody in the group, right? But again, that's a completely different metric. If you didn't show up to those live calls, exactly what you're talking about, Gurjot, if you show up to those live streams on YouTube with all the other traders, then eventually you're going to start picking up on their style. You're going to start understanding what are they doing. If you didn't show up consistently to those live sessions, even for yourself, Stefanos, then they're not going to know exactly what's going on. And that's what kind of helps me understand, because again, it's not a course. Both of our mentorships are like completely personalized to the students. So that helps 100%. Me understand, like, okay, what are you really struggling with? Are you really just here copy pasting, or are you actually trying to learn and you're really struggling with some sort of a topic that I can help you with?
That's why as a mentor, you got to help them figure out their own strategy instead of like, okay, this is what I do, try to duplicate exactly what I'm doing. I have a course, but it's mainly psychological stuff. Like the whole first part of the course, which is like 2 hours of content, is all your mental foundation and making sure that your mind is right. And then it gets into some technical stuff, basics, of course, advanced stuff. But at the same time, like, I'm teaching you how to form your own strategy and what makes sense to you. We all trade together, but we all trade differently in a way. But in a way, it's still the same as well. So it's
off topic. Like, I don't want to say, I don't know how you guys do these these mentorships. It's like, it's so much time that goes into it. So I don't even know how you guys create the time during the day to do it.
You have to have a love for it.
It's nuts. Yeah, you do.
You definitely, it can't be something that you're doing for money or anything like that. You have to love it. You have to like helping people.
People have asked me, I was like, there's no way. It takes too much time. It takes too much like effort. It's just like, it's not for me. I'm not a teacher. Like, I'm like I can give you tips, but like, I'm not a teacher at all.
100%. Yeah. Everyone's different, right? And some things make sense to some, just like a trading strategy. It's the same thing for your life strategy. What makes sense to you for what you want to do and what you're interested in. And some people have it out for them. Some people just do it for money, and you see them drop out after a couple of months.
Yeah, right? And you could tell when someone was doing it for money too. I was actually talking to some other entrepreneurs that were out of state, and so a lot of people, they say, well, go do what you love, go do like what you're passionate for. And then they're like, honestly, if you really think about it, all these companies that have started that are like multi-million, billion, trillion net worth, they're all started because the person who started them hated something. It wasn't because they loved, like, for example, Uber didn't start because somebody loved taxis, right? It started because, it was a need. Yeah, it was a need. And it started because the founder was waiting for a taxi and it took forever to come. And they're like, there has to be an easier way to do this.
Yeah, there's a solution to their problem. Like they created their own solution.
That was a great idea.
Problem.
Yeah. And so even if you look at like our mentorships, we could just start a course and be like, all right, go take a look at this. It's on teachable.com or something like that, because that's what a lot of people use. Or, you could come another route and be like, what is everything that I hated about being in another mentorship, or everything that I hated, in my journey that nobody really helped me out with, and how can I make this better? And then you have that personalized mentorship. So it takes up a lot of time, and both of us, like, we're taking Zoom calls and this and that, even while like we're driving, right? So I'm just like,
you guys are wilding out here. You guys need some time for yourself.
On a daily basis.
Yeah. And again, it's because I have a passion for it. And yes, I have love for trading, but also the major thing is I hated the fact that you could join a mentorship and the mentor's just like, here's my like webinar, or here's like my courses, and here's my live sessions. Go take a look at that. Good luck. And you can't really ever contact that mentor, or they're not willing to hop onto a call with you in like real time because you need help.
Yeah. I think a perfect example of this, and it goes even deeper to like actually love doing it. Sharma and I were just talking about it. Our schedules are outrageous. And we were surprised the fact that we're even able to do this. And we're not charging anybody for any of this. Like, this is all just like giving back to the community, secrets of trading. What do you wish you knew? These are 30 to 45 minutes a day of us doing it. Not a day, but we do these a couple times a week, and it's completely free because we love to do it. And that's just the difference.
Yeah, 100%.
One thing that I would say is like, I thought I was busy, right? It's like, because I just had reading, so I was like, oh, I finally have some time off. I thought I was busy, and now coming on here is like, it put me in my place. I was like, I'm not doing like crap. Like, where do you guys say I need to step it up one more time? Like
Oh,
because I
yeah.
was busy with school and I was busy with other work and I was busy with trading and like personal issues. So I thought I was busy, but like compared to you guys, nah. Like I have there's times in the day where I have a couple hours where I'm just wasting.
You know how we were
It's
talking
fun.
about success being subjective, like success could mean one thing to one person, another thing to another person. It's the same exact thing about being busy too, right? So there's always going to be other things that you're doing and you're always busy. And then this is what someone told me because I had like the same exact conversation with somebody else, but I was talking to them more about like personal development and business development. And so they're like, either, you could just sit there, watch TV. I mean, you're busy watching TV, right? Watching Netflix, or you could just like go play video games. You're busy playing video games. But then it's also like, how productive are you being towards your goals,
Yeah.
right? So our goal here is to create a much better community than what we had walked into a couple of years ago,
100%.
right? And so like, how productive are we in order to help build that community better? I mean, the two of us, we're not going to do anything. We're probably just a drop in like an ocean. But if that can help other people along the way.
Gurjot, it's funny you said that because there's a client I have, Doris Dweck. She's one of the best event planners in our area. And I spent 2 days with her, driving her up to the city. She had meetings, stuff like that. But like, I thought I worked hard. You got to see this lady. She is a
That's
machine.
crazy.
But I think I work just as hard. But the thing that makes her seem like she's working harder is because her business is always on the phone. And also her demeanor is always like, go, 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 like nonstop. And to that, like, I look at that and it's like, I don't know if I want my life to be like that. I don't want to be so like consumed by everything going on and like every phone call affecting me or, every issue going on, you're cursing or you're trying to figure out what's going on. I don't want to run a life like that. I want a majority stress-free life. I don't mind having stress, but I can handle it. But at the same time, I don't want to be on the phone all day long with family, with friends, constantly taking calls, all that stuff. I don't want to be doing that. But I work just as hard on a more silent basis behind a computer, doing what I'm doing, hopping on Zoom, stuff like that, stuff I enjoy. I don't know if she fully enjoys being on the phone with these clients all the time. Didn't seem like it. But
Yeah,
like
I mean,
it just seemed like she worked 10 times harder.
yeah.
We'd be in the city for 12 hours. We'd be on the drive for 12 hours going from meeting to meeting. Like, I don't know if I want to be doing that. I don't mind it, but I don't want to have
Yeah.
6-7 meetings in a day with 12 phone calls in between. This is not my style.
And that's exactly why, folks, you cannot compare yourself to
Exactly.
others,
Exactly.
right?
Only
Where,
work ethic in a way.
where
that
she's,
actually proved that you can't really
yeah,
compare to work ethic either.
why? Well, you can to the
You
point where
can.
like, she's busy, right? Maybe she does. Obviously, she loves what she does because either she's in it for the money or she actually loves it.
Yeah, she's
And that's
very good at what she does. She knows the business inside and out. It's insane how she could like quote things on the phone and like space areas for a dance stage, stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so I guess you could compare the work ethic in the sense that, hey, she's really grinding this out, right? Whatever she's doing, like that's how passionate you have to be about whatever you're doing. Either you could just hate whatever you're doing, but still be passionate about it. That's still very possible. And that's because you're just trying to make a change. Or you could have the love for it. And again, that's what kind of pushes you through. So you could still compare the work ethic, but the only thing is you can't compare that, oh, I need to be on the phone all the time. And that's what kind of determines whether I'm being productive or not. No, right? Or, you can't compare anything else that you're not in the same industry as she is. That's a completely different industry. Right? So you can't compare yourself to her. Exactly. And then also same exact thing to whoever's watching this. You can't compare yourself to us either. And we can't compare ourselves to you. There are certain things that we have experienced throughout the entire process where it's like, exactly, for example, the reason why we started this entire thing, things that we have learned along the way, and it's quite similar stuff. And then you come together and you're like, honestly, I went through the same thing. I'm surprised no one ever told us about this.
Yeah.
Because almost everybody experiences it.
Yeah.
You're also a different person. Like, there's like whoever's watching this could have a gift that we don't have that you can exploit or you can grow into something bigger. Obviously, we have skills that we can grow on a daily basis, but some natural things that we have that maybe you don't have, you can't really compare to, right? So there's different aspects of that too.
And one thing I'll say is I don't know why, like it's something in our industry. It's just with what Sharma pointed out. She's like, we've all been through. I feel like if we had a timeline or we wrote down notes from our start date that we started trading and to this day right now, and pretend we all had a journal, right? We all wrote every single day. If we all sat down together on a table and went through our journal, there'd be so many similarities in them. Like at the beginning stage, so many similar mistakes. And our industry just doesn't talk about that. I don't know if it's an embarrassment thing, like I blew this money counts, I blew this many, like
There's too much
this much
ego in
money.
this industry.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know if it's like I think you're right. It's too much ego. It's like it's not talked about enough. Like I'll say yes, I blew on accounts, but it's not like the other guys say nah, I got it within a month, or like nah, it's so easy, right? It's like it's not talked about it enough. I would say in our industry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You just reminded me of what I was going to say before with the, you depositing $100, $200 into an account. Rakeel and Ted would always tell, all of us, that's a recipe for blowing accounts. You're like much better off. Anybody watching this, much better off just saving money, trading demo for a little bit. If you don't have the money, saving up $500,000 and then depositing that. Don't just keep depositing $100, $200 in, $50 in. You're going to blow it. Because the less money that's in that account, the more about money you're going to be thinking. Like the more focused you're going to be on that money. So if it's $100, you don't want to lose that, and you're just going to try to make a ton, which is even more of the case. You're just going to try to make $500 on that $100. Like that's typically not going to work. So
I think that's also subjective, and that's also the reason why I tell people. A lot of people message me. They're like, "Should I put in like $1,000 or $2,000?" Like, first thing, we can't give you any of that advice, right? It's up to you how much you want to put in. But also another thing is, okay, let's say you're trading demo and everything, right? And then you have, let's say, a $5,000 account. Well, if you weren't able to handle that $500 account, what makes you think you're going to be able to handle that $5,000 account? You're just losing a bigger amount, right? So it's like, yeah, with that $100 account, you're going to be thinking more about money, but that's the shift that you need to have regardless, where it's stop thinking about it from a monetary perspective. Think about it from percentages. Yeah, on that $100 account, every day 1% or every day 10%, whatever it is that you're earning, even that dollar increase, yeah, it may seem small to you from a monetary perspective, but that's setting you up for the long term. You could start off with $100 account, flip that to, $200, and then maybe even put more money in if you want to later on, which I personally don't do. But again, it's all subjective. It comes down to you as a person, and you're always going to hear different opinions from everybody.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I'll give like I was gonna say examples. So it's like what I like, but this is like 100% honest. What I would do is like pretend I had a $100 account, right, and some sort of broker, whatever broker I was using back in the day. I blew the account and pretend I was like, and this was me when I would trade 24/7, right? When I was addicted to the charts, and I was in school and I was trading, right? So it was like I blew my account. I would go get my credit card, debit card, whatever it is, swipe or not swipe, put in my information, and then put $100 again and blow it right away. I had my card next to me and just keep putting it in. So that's like it was like insanity. It was a cycle of insanity because I did the same thing over and over again and nothing changed.
Yeah. Well, you learn
So
from it.
Yeah, and it happens. Like I don't know if you guys went through it, but like there's other traders have been through that. I know so many people that have been through that where they'll put $100 and they could keep putting 100. So it happens. It's just like you have to break the cycle.
That's why we have this podcast, because like someone out there that's listening to this is doing the same exact thing. Odds are, right? So they hear that and they're like, all right, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. So
and it could be the opposite too. Nugget. Somebody like may have never blown an account and they're like, well, maybe this doesn't apply to me. Yeah, maybe that one aspect doesn't, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other things that do. Like myself, for example, like again, it comes down to everything being very subjective, right? You can't just 100% copy paste this. Or for myself, I had that $100 account. I came down to 50 and I was like, that's 50%. I blew on this account. I still had the $50. I'm doing something wrong. So taking that step back, reevaluating everything, but obviously lot sizes were a lot smaller and I was able to take a lot less trades, but that's kind of what helps you set up that foundation. So you could do the same thing with $500 account where you blow $250, same exact thing. Or you can have that $5,000 account, you blow, $2,500, same exact thing. But are you able to take a step back and look at well, what's something that I need to fix because I just blew 50% of my account.
One thing, I like us talking and everything like that. I don't know if like this makes sense. One thing I realized is like I would say it's a cringe, not a cringy analogy or a cringy core everything, but like literally surround yourself with people that you want to be like, and
Mhm.
like yes, compare yourself. Like like how we talk. There's a thin line. Don't like compare yourself too much. It could be negative or everything, but like you will become like those people. It's like if it's like there's 10 people that you want to be like it, so try to surround yourself with those 10 people, and you will become like those people. And it's one thing I realized growing up, like I'm still 21. Yeah, I still got a lot of going to do. But one thing I realized over these last couple of years, like I cut off like a lot of people. Is like I don't really like. I'm. Everybody's different. I in the aspect is like I'm not like I can be social. I can go out and like have a conversation with anybody. I can be social, but then I I'm 100% fine with being 100 like alone. I can go out a week without talking to anybody and I'll be fine. And it's like one thing I'm lacking. I'll admit I'm lacking right now is the group of people that I want to be like. So I think I like talking to you guys. I feel like I have to add that back into my life. You know, where I said I stopped looking at Instagram, stopped comparing myself to people and stuff like that. I would say like just talking to you guys. Like this is what everything like talking to people like other people that you want to be like should be is like you realize hey like, the motivation that these guys have, the hunger that these guys still have, and to the level that these guys are at is amazing, right? It's like sometimes they pretend to have a really good month. Sometimes my hunger will diminish. I'm just like, nah, like that's something like to me, my eyes, that's unacceptable. I need to keep being hungry because I still have miles to go, right? It's not, it's a long marathon, and I'm only at the first like quarter of it, right? I have miles to go. So it's like I would say like I can admit talking to you guys and realize like I need to start putting people that I want to be like back into my life in the aspect of finding those people exactly right. It could be it could be online, it could be in person. Is that's one thing I would say. Surround yourself with people that you want to be like, because you will just pick subconsciously. Your mind will start doing things that they do.
Hmm.
And those
Surrounding
people are
and
gonna
comparing are
change
two
too.
different things.
Pardon me.
Like surrounding and comparing are two different things.
Yeah.
So comparing could get sticky. Surrounding
Yeah,
is 100% a good thing,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
right?
those people are gonna change throughout the process too, where you are gonna find people that you look up to now. You've reached that level, and now these people are like, all right, we're at the same level. Like you guys are my friends, like you're my go-to person and everything. Now let's level up together. And then you find somebody else that inspires you, and then you get onto that next level. For me personally, I've gone through that in the past, I would say 2 months. November, yeah, in the past 2 months, where before that, yeah, I talk about that Cancun trip a lot, but that was honestly the next level for me, where I went into that room. I already knew these people that are, that helped me get to the point that I was at, whether trading wise, with business wise, and everything like that. And then I get to Cancun and I walk into this room and I'm like, these people are like so many levels above me. Right now, you could either get intimidated and you're like, I'm never going to get to that point, right? Or I'm just not ready for it right now. And so there's no point for me. And you just turn around, you walk right back out, and then you go find somebody else who's probably a little bit closer to you. Or you're like, well, you're sitting at this level. How did you get to that level? Right. And I can bet you 100% anybody who's successful and they're secure in their own success will always help you out. You're never going to have somebody who's going to stand there and be like, ew, I'm not going to help you
Figure it
out.
out. Yeah.
yeah,
Figure it out on your own.
that's a big thing you said. If they're secure and they're like and they're successful, like what I like pretend we say we're trading, right? It's like I pretend I came up to you, like what you have, I come up to you and I say, hey, can you help me? You help me right away because like I'm not taking anything away from you. Like
Yep.
I'm not taking your money, I'm not taking your profits. Like it should never be like that. And if someone is like that, it's like even if it's a business, right? And it's like a sales business and you want to start the same sales business, right? Like you have to be confident enough in your own self and to know that it's like if I help this person, it's not going to ruin you. That's not how business works. Just because there's another successful business doesn't mean it ruins one, right?
Yep.
Like there's a million pizza stores. That doesn't mean like oh if I go one another pizza store opens, it's gonna like yes I understand that technically they can take away your profits, but it shouldn't be like it's not like that. It's like you still should be as successful as you always were.
100%.
100%.
So if you are talking to like a person or a mentor, if you go introduce yourself or like go ask a question and They just, and not that they brush you off or they say, or they're kind of being shady. Yeah, they can just have an off day. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is like, if they're being shady and they don't want to tell you, like that means they're not really who they are showing themselves out to be, right? They could be
Still on
lying
that
about.
journey.
Pardon me?
They're like still on that journey. Like
Yeah,
I mean, successful people, the end goal is to give back. That's what
yeah,
creates true happiness. Because like you have the money, it's like now what? Giving back creates that happiness. So like if you naturally are doing that, you're all already in the right mindset, and you're already doing at least something to be able to give back and help people out. So
yeah. So be like, I would say be
good
careful.
sign.
Is like, yeah, if the person's not being like 100% honest with you, or is like being really shady, because like that person's not, like with social media these days, they portray themselves as to be all entrepreneurs, all successful business people, and everything.
Mhm.
Guys, like they really aren't. I can start posting flashy pictures, and I don't even own anything flashy, and people won't know, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's so easy
Yeah,
to fake it
yeah,
these days. It's so easy to fake it these days. So
100%.
so be careful with who you think is a true, genuine, successful person, or a true like mentor. Right? Not everybody's meant to be a mentor. Like
100%.
I'm not meant to be a mentor. Right? Certain people just aren't meant to be a mentor. So just be careful with who you choose and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So to end it off, we had like a great conversation. We already went through like so many
This
things
is
that
awesome.
we wish we had known throughout our journey. But if there was one thing that you learned throughout the last 3 years, what would that be? And then the second thing that we're going to end off is, if someone's watching this and they're going through the same exact journey that you went through in, let's say, the last 6 months or the last 3 years, what's one advice that you would give to them?
Sorry, can you repeat the first question again?
Yeah, so what's one thing that you learned in the
Yeah.
past 3 years that you wish someone had told you when you started?
Okay, I have a weird answer to the question. I would say I don't think I wish, like, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change someone. Like I wouldn't tell. I wouldn't want your, like, pretend you come to me and say, "Oh, you have to do this or do this strategy or learn fundamentals or anything." I wouldn't change anything from the day I started, is because that's what made me, right. Those mistakes, those failures I've had, is what made me into the type
Oh,
of
yeah.
trader I am, the type of person I am. So I don't want to change anything. I would go through the success. To me, the fun part is not the end. Is weird. It's the journey, right? That's how I look at it. It's the journey, the hardship in it, right? The failures, the counts of the money I put in, the hours I put in, the time I put in, the like issues I've had with like person, people would say, "Oh, you're spending too much time on this," and stuff like that, right? It's like, so it's like, I would say I wouldn't change anything. I don't want any extra advice at the start or anything like that. I wouldn't change anything, because the only way I learned, the best, it's weird, sometimes people say, "Nah, that's not true," but it's the best way, the quickest way, or the best way to learn, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, is like just jump into the deep end, right?
Mm.
Right, so it's like that's the quickest way to learn, because like it's coming at you, you can't do anything about it, and you have to figure it out in the
Yeah.
pressure. So it's like, I wouldn't change anything. I would do everything. If I had to go back, I'll do everything from the scratch, fail as many times I've failed, blow as many accounts I've blown, spend as many hours I've spent, and then get to this point, because that's the only way. That's what I think is one of the best ways to learn. Failure is
Yeah.
one of the best ways to learn. So I
Do
wouldn't
you,
change anything.
would you have gone back? Like there's a ton of lessons to learn from what you learned with doing this, but would you have gone back and saved up, for like in $1,000 account and done that instead of what you did, or you're happy with kind of going through that process that you did?
No, I would, even if I spent even if I saved $1,000. I think the some of the failures will still be failures. I think I would still blown the $1,000 account. Where I went from 100 like 100. I've blown $1,000 account. It's not like I haven't. I've had $100 accounts, $200 accounts, and then sometimes it gets 1,000, or I put in 1,000 and I've blown that. So it's like, I don't think the amount of money in the account will change anything, because I think I would still have the failures, and maybe like slightly different. It might have been more emotional. I don't know, but I wouldn't change it. It's like, I wouldn't say, "Oh, save." Maybe that's good advice. Like that is really good advice. I'm not saying that's the horror, but that's good advice. But I think I am who I am because of the failures I've made. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody, like, you are who you are because of the failures you made. If you didn't make,
Yeah.
pretend you say, if you didn't make a couple of those failures, you could have been a completely different person, right? You could have went a completely different way into this, right? So I
Yeah.
am who I am with the
Butterfly effect.
failures I've made. Pardon me? Yeah, but yeah, butterfly. Yeah. So I am who I am with the failures I would make. So I wouldn't change any failures, and I am gonna be making. Trust me, I'm gonna so many more failures. Right? There's no book
Always.
to life. Everybody's book's different, and you're not. It's like you're not reading the book of life. You're writing it, and when you're writing it, there's like 1,000 failures, right? So it's like I am who I am because of my failures, and I'm gonna keep making failures, right? I fail every day. I would say if you fail every day, it's not dumb, it's not stupid, it's not like you're not like going insane.
Listen.
As long as you take something away from it and you learn something away from it. And failure doesn't mean it doesn't have to be something big. It could be something smaller. Like examples, like I also have a job. So it's like if I went to work and I'll give this example. So last week I went to work and I had a issue with some of my coworkers and stuff like that. And I had a heated argument with my supervisor, and I went about it the complete wrong way and everything. And the next day I had to wake up and apologize because I was just heated in the moment. And it's like that was a failure I learned. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make that mistake. If I'm heated, I'm not gonna go talk to one of my supervisors or talk to one of my workers or anything because I'm lashing out on them and stuff like that in not the correct way, not even an informative way. So it's like failure doesn't have to be something big. You don't have to blow a count and it counts as a failure. A failure could be, oh, I don't know, ate something bad that day and like, okay, I'm not gonna eat that again, right? So it's like you fail every day, but learn from those failures.
100%.
In business, they say that you should be failing often and you should be failing fast because that's the only way that you learn what works and what doesn't work. And then, you learn from those failures and then you continue on and you build something that's even more successful. So what would be one advice that you give to somebody who's watching this right now and who's going through the same exact journey?
That's a tough one because there's like 1,000 advice you can give and like very specific and stuff like that. And since we're talking about failure, I'd say it's if you're failing, I'll say this. Everybody, like I don't know if anybody else given this advice or anything that probably have, but I'm not sure. Like everybody's on their own journey and everybody's failed a different amount of times. Just because we'll say I failed 100 times and Stefanos failed 80 times and Sharma failed, we'll say 120 times, right? Just don't, like if you reach the number, like we'll say if you failed, we'll say blown many accounts, don't just quit. Like if you're really in for like want to do this and want to make this your future and this is your passion, you won't quit, but don't just like give up. I've had moments where I'm like down on my luck. I'm like self-confidence broken, everything. I don't want to do this. I'm exhausted. I've spent so many years. And then it's like something I was able to pick myself back up, but just don't quit. Remind yourself why you started. Because that reasons like 3 years ago, why did I start this? Because I want a better future for myself and the people around me, right? And still to this day, I think about that. I want the better future for myself and the people around me. That's the driving factor. When this confidence is broken, because like I just take the responsibility of other people's like issues around me. Like I have to fix them. So it's like just don't quit just because you say, "Oh, I failed these many times," and like this person got it done within a year and I couldn't. Right? You're on your own journey. Just don't keep making the same mistakes for too long. Like I've made the same mistakes for like a year maybe, but don't do it for too long. Then that's like what Stefan said, that's insanity. But don't just don't quit. Like you got to keep at it. It took me 4 years to get to this point. Like think about how many hours and days and time that is. Like back testing that I did, the journaling I did, the different types of strategies I did. Just don't quit. If you really want this and you really want to do this, don't quit, because the moment you quit, it's game over. You can't you can go back, but it's game over.
The main thing is, when you're failing or you're catching these losses, whatever it is, you're just gaining lessons and you're gaining experience. So you're getting better even if you are failing. The number one thing that you want to focus on is not making the same mistake twice. If you could do that with everything, you're going to be good. So just always make sure that you're learning from these losses. Because if you make the same mistake twice, 3 times, 4 times, that's on you. That's a real loss. But if you can correct that the next time, that's awesome. And that's any aspect in your life, not just trading.
Yeah. And last thing I was is because I know this is a trading related podcast and we kind of ventured off that this time.
Good.
Trading is easy. Trading is very easy. Trading is like 1 + 1 easy type of thing. Yeah, it's simple. Like my strategy, your strategy, every strategy, like what I've seen from like who is very successful is basics. They do the basic trading styles. Trading is very easy. The hardest part that we've talked about during this podcast, the hardest part of trading is the mind. you cannot control your
It's all
mind.
mind,
It's
man.
it's people that are able to control their mind and like are 100% like not emotional and like everything like that. It's like I praise them so much because I'm still working to control my mind, right? Like I see like you guys can like you guys may be very mentally stable in the aspect of like emotions, or like you guys are able to control, and like so it's like trading is very easy. Just this what's the word, psychology,
Psychological.
yeah, the psychological, aspect of it is the hardest aspect. That's the, so if it's 100% of work, that's the 90% of the work, and trading is the 10%.
I think it's 100%. Like
There you go.
just because like reading candles and wicks and all that could be mental too. But like it's all about controlling yourself in the markets. You'll learn so much. And like you mentioned, you got into trading at 17. I wish I was trading at 17. Like you grew up so much. You've already started distancing yourself to people. You're only 21, right? So that normally happens around 23, 24. You graduate college. You're like, all right, I got to do something with myself, stuff like that. But you did it so early. You discovered trading so early as well. You're just in the beginning stages, but like by the time like you're my age, you're gonna be, on a whole nother stratosphere. As long as you're out working everyone and you're learning from your previous mistakes.
Yeah. How old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 27.
I'm
27?
23.
23? I thought Stefanos, you'd have been like 25, 26.
Really?
You're
Yeah.
getting up there, old man.
I am.
3
I
more
am.
years and hitting the big
I am.
number.
I am. Call me Yoda.
But yeah,
Um,
so I think some of the key things that were to take away from here was the first thing, obviously psychology, mindset, but also accept those failures. Too many times we see it like, all across social media and a lot of different industries where it's like a lot of people are scared to talk about their failures. And that's why, like, the reason why starting this whole secrets of trading is because there's so many things that people are scared of talking about. I don't understand why. It
Yeah.
could come from like, what are people going to say? Because that's what mentality is for a lot of people, right? They're scared of what other people are going to think. It doesn't matter. Everyone's going through the same exact stuff. Or even the fact that someone else is going to look at it and they're going to make fun of you for it. It doesn't matter. That person went through it as well. So accept those failures and have security in it, but also understand what are your overall goals. Exactly what you said, like throughout the entire, pretty much this episode. What's your why? And keep working towards that why.
100%.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was saying like it's funny that I'm like such an older person on these podcasts, stuff like that, because most of my life and like my life right now, a lot of the people I compare myself are a lot older. The people I surround myself with are older. Like my fiance is
like
older. Our friends are older than me. Like I'm the young one. So like now being in this dynamic, it's funny to be the older one.
It's because as like sometimes some of the sayings that we're saying, as like you've heard it a million times, like some of them are like really are true. Is like one thing is like the older the person is, the more life they live and the more experiences they have, and like not that they may not know more than you, but they have the experience more than you, right? So that's like as cringy as these sayings are, they all have a truth. They all have a truth to them, and then like it makes sense. So it's like yeah, sorry, that's what I was gonna say.
I always catch myself saying these, and in the back of my head, I'm like, "That's so corny."
Because people hear them. People hear them all the time.
I know. It's like, all right, here we go.
Some of them is the truth.
Dust yourself off, like stuff like that. It's just, come on, everyone says that.
All right. So if people want to contact you and talk to you more about, your entire journey, then
you can step into teaching.
No, not teaching. I answer questions all the time on DMs, but no teaching.
That's good that you realize that early on, and you're just like, you know what, that's not me. I'd rather do this. That's good.
Yeah, it's
the
just
earlier you realize these things, the better.
I don't know if I will be good at it, because like one of my jobs is an instructor, swim instructor. So like I can instruct and stuff like that, but it's like I don't think I'll do it.
Maybe you're good at it, but you won't enjoy it.
Yeah,
won't last.
That's the thing. Yeah, I won't enjoy it. Yeah. But I answer questions all the time on my Instagram. So if you guys like, people DM me all the time, and I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities and the best of my that I can. And if they do want to reach me, I think my Instagram is Gurjot, GURJOT _FX.
All right.
There's nowhere we could like type it on the screen. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's backwards, but
no, it's actually not.
Oh, for me it shows it backwards because I was
okay.
Looked other way.
Yeah, for us.
Gurjot.
it's
Perfect. So yeah, if you guys have any questions and you want to continue talking to Gurjot, you could go message him on Instagram. But thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
and sharing all those gems. We really appreciate it. It took
100%.
like
No worries.
3 weeks for us to kind of figure
Hey,
this out.
Yeah.
I'd say it was worth it. I enjoyed the conversation. Like I genuinely did. I think talking to you guys, it kind of like, hey, okay, I need like start being more active into my Instagram trading and everything, and then I need to surround myself for people. So it helped me just as much as it's going to help these guys.
Awesome. I take full responsibility for us taking so long. I think
No.
majority of the pushbacks have been my schedule. So
Things
bad, man.
happen. People are busy. You're grinding. I'm not gonna
No
blame
idea.
you for grinding, right? Like things
Yeah,
happen.
man. Doesn't stop. But we
All
love
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much. All right.
Take care, guys.